Welcome, namaskaram, namaste, salam, sabona, and salutations. By now, most of you are aware of the two incidents that occurred at Amkumar's beach involving law enforcement officers and Indian fishermen. In the incident wherein the excessive force was used to arrest a fisherman, here SAPS officials were involved, and accordingly, the 1860 NIC Congress has written to SAPS asking for clarity on the matter, more especially because the fisherman concerned was released and all charges were dropped. So why was he arrested and with such excessive force? We need to have the answers. The other incident was the one where officials from the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment were involved. They were seen on a video issuing a fine to a fisherman who had allegedly overfished. However, in the video, the author of the video accuses the DFFE officials of selective enforcement. His allegations were clear on the video that the officials charge Indian fishermen easily, whereas they ignore African traders illegally selling crayfish on the N2. A very serious allegation indeed. As a lobby group that champions the rights of not only Indians but all minority groups, the 1860 NIC Congress wrote to the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment. They responded by condemning the misinformation that was being spread on social media about the anti-poaching operation they had in place, and that the officials were, and I quote, diligently carrying out their duties in response to a valid complaint. They went further to state that any person who breaks the law is liable to be prosecuted. However, the response did not directly address the allegation made on the video that Indian fishermen were being victimized, while African vendors were seen to be illegally selling crayfish but not prosecuted. I wrote back to the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, and on Sunday morning I received a call from Deputy Minister of the DFFE, the Honorable Naren Singh. Mr. Singh made it clear that it was not selective enforcement and that any person breaking the law would be prosecuted. When I pressed him on the allegation of illegal crayfish sellers on the N2 going about business for years with no prosecution, he replied that the enforcement was difficult, as when these illegal vendors see the official vehicles approaching, they flee into the bushes, thus making prosecution difficult or them evading prosecution. Let me be clear, I have the greatest respect for the Honorable Mr. Singh, and I appreciate his direct call to me to offer clarity, but his response does not sit very well with me. The fact that it's difficult to apprehend the culprits is no reason why there should be no enforcement. I'm not saying there isn't. It's almost like SAPS saying, well, we cannot prosecute the drug lord because we can never catch him with the drugs on him. And then all investigation basically just comes to nothing. From what I gather, this illegal activity of crayfish selling is carrying on to such an extent that it is allowed to continue. And it's creating the impression that there is selective enforcement based on race. I personally don't think it's based on race, but I can understand why it's seen that way. So here's a platform view. What are your thoughts? Mr. Naren Singh did ask me to canvass for your responses and to forward team so that he could have a better idea of what's going on the ground, and that's good leadership. So leave your comments. If you're watching on TikTok, leave your comments below. We also await the response from SAPS regarding the arrest and release of the fishermen and the conduct of their officers. Also, in your comments, what do you think of the role of the 1860 NIC Congress? Do you appreciate that it is a body that can be a voice not only for Indian minority but all minorities, and indeed a voice for all South Africans seeking justice? If you think the 1860 NIC Congress is needed, then sign up now and show your support. If you're watching on TikTok, click on the link in the bio above, or WhatsApp 073-767-5836 to have the link sent to you. Murli, Tanasegaran, Rubenathan, I'm prepared to be on the front line, the man in the arena, but the question remains, how many of you will have my back? Nice to ask.
Tell her what you must, tell her what you crave, but don't tell her flop, don't tell her with a masala.